Hello, my name is Amanda Admire, and I'm an instructor and research associate at Humboldt State University. In 2011, I had just begun my master's degree at HSU in the geology department, working with Dr. Lori Dangler on understanding and measuring tsunami currents in harbors. With a background in oceanography and an interest in natural disasters, I was very excited to begin my work with Lori. Late at night on the evening of March 10th, I received a text message letting me know that a very large earthquake had occurred in Japan and produced a tsunami. And like many, I immediately turned on the television and began seeing the footage of the tsunami arriving along the Japan coastline. And I was just in shock at how powerful the surges really were and what was taking place along the coastal regions of Japan. After the tsunami arrived in California and impacted our coastline, I spent many hours analyzing the data that was collected by our acoustic Doppler current profiler instrument that was installed in Humboldt Bay that was collecting data on how fast the water was actually flowing. And I also spent a lot of time analyzing video footage that was collected in Crescent City during the beginning of the tsunami as it arrived along their coastline within their harbor. And that information is what became the bulk of my master's thesis and really helped us to understand how fast these currents were really moving in those coastal regions. This is really important so that we can understand the impact that that flowing water is going to have and how it could potentially affect structures or other things that are in that coastal region. And with this work, I continued on for several years working on this work with Dr. Lori Dangler and then also working as a graduate assistant for many groups, including the California Geological Survey and colleagues, to understand what happened along California. And in that position as a graduate student, I was working with Lori and her colleagues to look at more video footage and to look at the data and the damage that was done so that we could better understand the impact to our coastline so that we could minimize impact like that in the future. A large effort was made by scientists and organizations in California, and seeing that was a real initiating moment for me to see the hazards that we face and that we all need to take a moment and think about the hazards that are around us and what we can do as individuals to prepare for them. And it was really eye-opening and enlightening to see that emergency management process and that preparedness step that is so vital to us being able to be okay during and after major events like earthquakes and tsunamis. This event in particular really heightened my interest in that awareness aspect of natural disasters. I had always been interested in them. I always found them fascinating, but I had been more interested in the science behind it up until that point. And it was this event and the subsequent work that I did with many scientists, with California Geological Survey and other groups throughout California that really helped me see that that was something that I was interested in and wanted to pursue and go down that path. And ultimately has led to my current position that I have in as an educator at the university, but then also collaborating with the Redwood Coast Tsunami Work Group, the Humboldt Earthquake Education Center, and many of those people that I met during that time of being a graduate student working with the Harbor District and the local Office of Emergency Services and the other scientists and organizations and people in the communities who are very driven to help inform the community at large what is possible in their area. I think that's a very important takeaway message that we can all think about, is that we all need to take a minute to look at those hazards. We all need to think about how it could affect us. And for me, the 2011 Great East Japan earthquake and tsunami really opened my eyes to that. And I had the privilege to learn from many of the people and organizations that were working to understand the impact of that event here in California and along the West Coast. And I feel like I have learned a lot from them, and I feel like we still have a lot to learn from every event, earthquake and tsunami, to make sure that we can better prepare the communities and coastal regions for these hazards that are very real and that can impact us all. So For me, the 2011 tsunami is very significant, not only in my memories and personal experience, but also in the path that it has led me on.